Hey, what's up, everybody, and welcome to week 4, the very final week of the 31 days of Halloween videos. Tonight, I've got Adam joining me to discuss this week's watches. He's actually seen quite a few of these movies, and let's go ahead and get started. On Friday night, Killer Clowns from Outer Space. This is the Blu-ray release. I think Best Buy had a lot of these on sale last year for like $7, so I picked up quite a few of them, and that was another reason I kind of wanted to do this marathon, because they've been sitting on my shelf since last Halloween. So saw this a few years ago on Netflix, and I didn't love it, and I actually enjoyed it a little bit more this time. It's PG-13.
Now, did you watch it on Netflix? I thought the first time you'd have seen this was when MST ripped on it.
They didn't do that.
Did they not?
Mm-mm.
I could have sworn they did.
I wish they did.
No, Plan 9 from Outer Space.
Plan 9 from Outer Space. They didn't do that.
That's like
either.
their most famous. What?
Nope. They did other Ed Wood movies, but not Plan 9.
Well, you're the MST fan.
This is actually interesting for you.
Okay.
This was directed by the Chiodo brothers, and John, your cousin,
right?
I guess knows the Chiodo brothers.
Yeah.
He recorded a video with them recently, so they made this film, and they did the special effects, and we'll be talking about them a little bit later. They did an effects in another movie, but this is a good one for younger kids. When I watched it, I thought this will be a great one to show my daughter. It's PG-13. It's nothing really that violent, but it does have some creepy stuff in it.
How long before you think she'll be ready to see it?
She could watch this when she's probably 6 or 7.
I think whatever you think she's gonna be cool with,
yeah,
add a couple years.
Yeah, well, here, we'll get to it in a minute, because I haven't told you this yet, what we showed her this week. But fun one. I really love John Vernon's performance in this. He's the sheriff. He's well known as a character actor. He's in you would know him from, what's the college movie with John Belushi?
Animal House.
Animal House. He's the principal. 0.0.
Yeah, he was Mr. Big in I'm Gonna Get You Sucker.
Oh yeah. He's also in Savage Streets as the principal and tells someone to go fuck an iceberg. So
people are running out of time.
I love John Vernon. He's great in this. He was a highlight, but just a fun movie. I liked it a lot. Next on the list is another one I bought last year, too. At the same time I got that one, and that's Invasion of the Body Snatchers on Blu-ray. This is the remake from 1978. Have you ever seen it?
Never seen that.
It's really cool, and it's got Donald Sutherland in it, and it's also got Brooke Adams, and she's in a lot of movies I like The Dead Zone, and she's in Terrence Malick's Days of Heaven. And then you don't see her very much, like after the late 70s and 80s, and she was pretty cool. But yeah, it's also got Jeff Goldblum in it, and Leonard Nimoy. It's got a lot of good ones, but it's a remake of the 50s film, and it really does a great job of building this, like, who's already been taken over, who hasn't. It's got the creepy animations of like the pods like spitting bodies out, like they make the body and then like it spits it out. It's really cool. I wouldn't say it's underrated, but I don't know if enough people dig on it. It doesn't have a lot of gore,
right? But
it's paced really well. It's got that cool kind of New York vibe from the 70s, so I think it's definitely a good watch. Yes. You know what's crazy though? It's rated PG here. It's got nudity in it. Brooke Adams is nude in it.
That was before PG-13 was around.
Definitely, yeah. Yeah, so yeah, I guess it doesn't have enough cussing or anything to get a R.
It seems like the late 70s and kind of halfway through the 80s, there were a lot of 50s movie remakes that were really well done.
Oh,
The Fly, The Blob, The Thing.
The Thing. Yeah, the remakes back then, I don't know if they just had more appreciation for the original, but remakes now, okay, here's what I think. I think remakes back then were, David Cronenberg says, hey, I want to do The Fly. John Carpenter says, you know what movie I loved? I want to do The Thing. Now, studios
Right.
say.
It's not the person wanting to pay homage. It's a
No.
bunch of producers sitting around a table. Yeah.
So let's remake Texas Chainsaw. Okay, let's hire a director. You had the directors who really cared.
Yeah, because
about
they
the
grew
film.
up watching. Like, I really enjoyed this movie from my childhood.
Right.
I want to pay my respect to it.
Yes. So I really enjoy this. I recommend picking it up if you guys enjoy kind of a slow burn thriller with some cool effects, and just a good one. Check it out. So Sunday night, Rachel wanted to watch one. We watched Texas Chainsaw Massacre 4. I think I threatened her with it earlier in the month, but we didn't get around to it. And she kind of sat on the computer while we watched it.
Didn't hold her attention.
Oh my, it's so bad. It's so bad.
Helped launch McConaughey and Renee Zellweger.
It's like, I think she thought it was going to be funny to watch because the two of them were in it, and it's not even enough.
No.
It's a really, really big piece of junk, and it looks like crap. This isn't even in the movie.
Right.
And
they went for, like, in the previous movies, Leatherface's character kind of, had the mask or whatever, but in this one they make him like a full-blown transvestite, right?
kind of. I mean, they try to, but it just really doesn't work there. It doesn't make any sense.
And it seems like McConaughey screams through almost the
screams.
entire movie.
He just screams. And
He's
that's
probably
all she
upset
does.
about not having a Lincoln, because he's pretty calm when he's driving a Lincoln.
Look, I kind of mentioned earlier when Dustin was here about Texas Chainsaw and how it's not my favorite franchise.
Mm-hmm.
And I think one of the reasons why it's not my favorite franchise is because I find a large amount of the films to just be screaming. The first one, the second one, I've only seen the third one once. I need to rewatch it. But it's just screaming. It's just people screaming in terror. And to me, that was never really scary or interesting.
Yeah, the first one I really liked. I haven't seen it since high school, but I really liked it at the time because it tricked you into thinking it was a lot more violent than it actually was.
Yeah.
There's not that much gore.
No.
And the family was legitimately creepy. And I think later they kept trying to capture that creepy family vibe.
Yeah.
And they never pull it off. They
Never.
just it's laughable later on. It's never creepy.
I actually think I like the second one the best. I like Texas Chainsaw 2 the best because it's kind of tongue-in-cheek, and Tobe Hooper kind of goofed on himself a little bit when he
Did
made
he just
it.
do the first?
Two.
Two.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, he did the first two. And they were about 10 years apart almost.
Mm-hmm.
There was a good time there. But this one is horrible. Never watch it. I would never recommend it. I think I've got it in the $5 bin at Walmart. And
Still pay too much.
yeah, it sucks. It's nothing redeeming about it. It's no good gore.
There's nothing more disappointing than finding a movie that you think, well, I know this isn't going to be great, but
It might
hopefully
be
it'll
fun.
have some, it'll be fun. It'll have something redeeming.
No.
There's nothing worse than just a movie that has nothing redeeming
It's
about
nothing redeeming. It's a piece of
it.
shit.
And usually horror, you can find something.
yeah,
Lame comedy, it might be a piece of shit throughout the whole thing.
that's kind of
But
what I
with
think.
horror, it's usually accidentally good somewhere.
That's kind of what I think my issue is with Chainsaw is that part 2 has really good gore because Tom Savini did it.
Yeah.
None of the other movies have gore. So
Right.
without the gore, there's nothing supernatural. There's no monsters. There's nothing creepy. I mean, there's creepy things in the first one. The atmosphere is creepy.
Right.
But it's as you go, there's not even any gore.
Right.
So it's just nothing to get
It's just
excited about.
McConaughey screaming.
Yeah, it's a piece of shit. I hate it.
Pass.
Okay, next up,
3-pack.
3-pack. We watched the one in the middle. Ernest, Scared, Stupid. I've talked about this one on the podcast. I've talked about it in earlier reviews. And we showed it to Veronica.
Oh, really?
Yes. And so we put it on, and she wasn't really too interested because I think she was just kind of hyper.
Mm-hmm.
And so we kind of got her calmed down, and she started sitting there watching it. And she started getting sucked in. I said, okay, here comes the troll. So she's looking for the troll. He shows up, and I don't know if you remember the part where the little boy, the first kid, slips down in the mud, and he's trying to get up in the mud, and he's like, help, help. And you hear Ernest talk, and then when he looks up, is it the troll?
Yeah.
And the troll turns him into a piece of wood.
Right.
I was watching her to see what her reaction was. I swear to God, she went, and her mouth just stayed open. She was just going.
It's one of the,
She couldn't believe it.
Yeah, one of the rare times that someone was mouth agape at an Ernest
It was
movie.
mouth agape.
Yeah.
And I said, Rachel, look at her. We were dying because she got sucked into it. Anytime there was a scare, she would yell and she would be like, turn it off, but then
That's
I
so
wouldn't turn it
rewarding
off.
to have a blank slate like that, where they know none of the horror cliches, they know
Nothing.
nothing about,
Nothing.
jump scares and, trickery and effects, and it's
No.
just sucked in. And
Yeah.
Is this stuff out there? Is this
Yeah.
troll real?
She loved it.
Oh, I bet.
Oh, now she keeps talking about trolls. There's a troll in there. We need to kill the trolls.
Will you check the trolls under the bed?
But I really enjoy Ernest Goes to Camp, but I think my favorite is Ernest Scared
Yeah.
Stupid. It's really paced well. It moves good. It's fun. It's shot well. It's inventive. I laughed a couple of times.
Yeah.
It's funny. It's a great movie.
It's got gadgets. It's got a good showdown.
It really does create that atmosphere of the Halloweens when we were growing up.
Right, and I remember watching it a bunch as a kid. What year did it come out?
Actually came out in 91. I think I said it came out later than that in some of the other reviews, but I believe it's 1991.
Doesn't the troll? He goes through a major transformation and kind of hulks
Hulks
up
up
at
at the end.
That's where Super Shredder got his idea, I bet.
Possibly. Well, I'll tell you what. Chiodo Brothers did the Trolls. So the guys that did the Killer Clowns earlier that we're talking about, they created all the trolls in the movie. And they look really good.
Yeah, no, they do.
That's what I loved about it. And at the end, all the other trolls come. Remember
Yeah.
the
Oh, yeah.
tree?
Everywhere there's dropping.
So we got kind of worried though showing her because she was kind of saying, "Oh, it's gonna get him, it's gonna get him," and she really liked the dog. And I told
It's a
Rachel,
little
I said,
Jack Russell.
yeah, rim shot.
Rim shot. I always remember rim shot.
I told Rachel, I said, he's gonna get that dog, and she was like, "Oh, how's she gonna react?" She handled it pretty fine. She didn't really.
He
upset
made
her.
it out in the end though, right?
Yeah, he made it out.
What was with the early '90s and Jack Russell Terriers being like the shit?
They were everywhere.
Wishbone, you remember Wishbone?
Loved it.
I used to watch
What's
the hell
the
out of
story, Wishbone? Yeah, I was probably too old to be watching it.
Yeah, still watched it though.
We watched PBS all the time. Me and you would watch
Zoom?
and we would
Not the
get.
Canadian original. Wasn't there an original Canadian version?
There was an old version. I don't know if it was Canadian, but we watched the redone one, and we were in 8th grade.
Probably.
Oh no, we were.
We definitely made fun of it. We did
Yeah,
our
we
we did
made-
our own riffing on
We
it.
made fun of it, but
but
watched it.
we
too.
still watched it.
Yeah. So.
That was a big way Dan and I became friends, was after school shit television and making fun of it along the way. Jerry Springer, Maury.
I made a career out of it, making shit television.
Now you raised the bar.
So I did something kind of different. The
It's
next
like a
night.
mom purchase right here.
Well, maybe here. I watched a couple of episodes, Halloween episodes from different TV shows, and I've got a couple here to talk about. But the one I didn't grab. I watched the Halloween episode of Pete and Pete called Halloween.
I never was a big Pete and Pete person.
Really.
No.
I could see that. It's not really your type of humor.
And a girl we went to school with was in one of the episodes.
Yeah, a girl we went to high school with was in season 3, Brittany Whittington, I
Yeah,
think her
that's
name
right,
was, yeah. And she's like jump roping in an episode, and that was like a big thing.
Yeah, we were all famous because of that by proxy. Someone we knew was in Nickelodeon, so Pete and Pete.
I'm a huge Pete and Pete fan, and I'll talk about something here when I talk about this, but I love that episode. I tried to get Veronica to watch it. She didn't really care, but who cares? I loved it. I really enjoyed watching it.
It's a little old for her. I mean,
It is, yeah, definitely. So I watched that. I've been watching some episodes of the Ray Bradbury Theater, and this was a purchase I got on Amazon. It was like $7, and it's 65 episodes of a show.
really?
Yes, and it's an anthology show, kind of like Tales from the Crypt or Twilight Zone, except about 10 times worse than those.
Okay. Is there a Crypt Keeper equivalent?
Ray Bradbury comes in at the front of each episode and shows you his office.
Does he raise up out of a coffin?
No, he walks in there with some old man slacks on.
Does he have a pipe?
Nope.
Damn.
So, I just kind of threw this in there. I don't think I watched the episode of it that night, but I've been watching it, and I'm a couple of discs in. I kind of watch it at night when I'm going to bed, and Rachel says that it is without a doubt the most like instantly fall asleep show. She has no interest in it. If you put it on, she's going to sleep immediately.
I looked at the case and it looked like it was an insomnia cure.
It can be. Some of the episodes have been pretty cool.
Yeah.
Some of the episodes are pretty cool. Some of them are really garbage, but I just thought I'd talk about it. Maybe I'll do a review when I finish it. So, this is one I watched that night. Season 2 of Tales from the Dark Side. Love this show a lot. It was produced by George A. Romero.
Mm-hmm.
And the episode I watched is called Halloween Candy.
Okay.
And Tom Savini directed it.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
He directed a couple of episodes of this show. And it was so much fun. I love this show. This is an example of an anthology show compared to Ray Bradbury that's really good and really fun. So I recommend everybody checking this one out, especially that episode.
Now, was it Tales from the Dark Side or Tales of the Unexpected? Which was the one you showed me with the levitation
Tales
thing?
from the Dark Side.
Okay, that was really good.
That levitation episode is awesome.
He's still up there.
He's just going. He's going. Next up is Are You Afraid of the Dark, Season 1. So recently I noticed on Amazon that they were burning these to DVD-R. So I had a set of bootleg, every episode on bootleg DVD that I bought years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And I have worn those DVDs out. I've talked about it. It's one of my favorite shows of all time. Really inspirational to me as a kid.
I picked up a slightly better bootleg.
Right.
I think they're better than, someone recorded.
Did they come in cases?
No, I mean it's just that stacked case.
Yeah.
But they seem to be good quality.
Well, this is cool. I mean, you get a nice case.
Mm-hmm.
Amazon puts this together. They burn DVD-Rs and they print the discs. There's another disc that's in my DVD player because I'm watching it right now. And the quality's really good.
I didn't realize until I started watching them again recently that it was Canadian.
Yeah. Yeah.
You can very much tell me tons of the actors. Sorry, all over the place.
Sorry, okay.
And all the,
You see some Degrassi kids pop up later.
Oh, Lord.
Like later in like season 5 and stuff. You see some Degrassi kids pop up for sure.
I was really surprised, and I'm about almost full way through that first season with my rewatching of it.
Mm-hmm.
And there's some that stand out that are still pretty good. I watched the Dark Music one last night, where he locks the bully down in the basement.
I love that one.
Is good.
I always
it's
think
the kid, just the guitar riffs coming up, and he's
at the podcast this week, Brandon was talking about wearing the Danzig shirt with the black pants and the boots. I always think that bully is what Brandon looked like in high school. Every time I see that kid, I'm like, that's
every
Brandon.
time he walks in the classroom, a guitar riff.
Yeah.
But the thing that I just realized is, so many of these kids, you can just see it in their face that they thought they were the shit, that they were part of this show, and they were going to be just sky's the limit thespians, and they're working at Waffle House now.
What you need to do, because I do it all the time, is IMDb the episodes and then see where they are. And a lot of the girls go on
to do porno.
No, they don't do porn, but some of them do nudity, which you gotta check out.
You gotta see what they're up to.
I like to see what they're up to in their career.
I like to see how their acting develop.
Yeah, or we won't get into it, but
sorry,
was I nude? So love this. I love Canadian shows in general. I'm always digging on some Canadian stuff. I don't know, Rachel loves stuff too. But I'm going to pick up the rest of these, even though I already have them. They're $10. They're like $10, $11.
How many seasons they do? 6?
Well, I think they did 6 seasons, and then it went on hiatus, and then came back for 3 more seasons.
Really? Oh, wow.
And they have a different
I'm sure there's
crew.
a ton I haven't seen.
The later ones aren't as good, but there's a couple of hidden gems in that later set when they came back that I really, really like. So maybe one day, once you get through them, we'll do a video of our favorite episodes of Are You Afraid of the Dark?
Please do.
Let's definitely plan that one out. So check this out, guys. Really good. Okay. So last night I was kind of burnt out.
You surprised me.
Well, I didn't know if I wanted to watch a horror movie, and something started playing music from this movie, and I was like, I'm going to watch that because it takes place during Halloween.
Okay.
It's not a horror movie, but it still takes place during Halloween, and I felt like it was going to really get me in the Halloween spirit. And that is Donnie Darko.
Oh, did you hear some Tears for Fears?
No, I heard the actual score.
Oh, okay.
Which I love. Not only do I love the soundtrack, the songs, I love the score to this movie. But to be honest with you, I've seen it a lot, and it had a big impact on me when I was younger, probably like 18, 19.
That's the last time I watched it. I was about that age, and I remember it had a big impact. Does it hold up?
It's still a good movie. It is not a bad movie, but as you get older, there's things about it that have less impact on
Is
you.
it like kind of the teenage anguish and that kind of struggle? It doesn't resonate as much because we're well beyond that now.
Exactly. And he's sort of I don't know, he's not a character you like as much when you're older, I guess, because he's just kind of like pointlessly angry and
right.
stuff, you know, and
it's like moody and stuff in high school.
For no
That's
reason.
cool, yeah, he's moody, he's dark. Now you're like, fuck that, can get a job. Quit being such a worthless
do something.
Yeah.
But I still,
no, dude, I'm dark.
hey, I still love it.
Yeah.
It's still a great movie. I think it's something that as I get older I'll probably like less and less, but I'll always hold a nostalgic, you know.
I was surprised on the back when it's talking about who's in it. Maggie Gyllenhaal didn't get a nod.
She was not as big then.
I know. She was his sister in the show, or the movie as well.
Yeah,
But she didn't even get a nod in the description of the movie.
Yeah, yeah. I think they were looking to cast someone else, and someone said, she's available. And they're like, oh, really? That worked great.
Yeah, she could probably play his sister pretty well.
You think? Yeah, she could probably do a good job at that.
They should have been like, you suck as his sister. You're cut. We're getting somebody else.
What the hell is wrong with you? So
that reminds me of the Lewis Black story, the comedian, where they were going to do a sitcom based on him, and he went out to L.A. to audition for it, and he said when he got back, they called him. They were like, "Man, you nailed it. You did a great job, but someone did a better job." So he said, unbeknownst to me, there's a better me out there walking around. And they wound up not going forward with the project, but apparently Lewis Black is the second best Lewis Black in the country.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
In dealing with Hollywood.
Gee, that is a perfect example of how stupid producers can be.
I can't stand it. It drives me nuts. So that brings us to our movie tonight.
Yes.
And
I watched this one with you.
Yes. And so did Rachel. She's probably not going to say anything. We went to the theater and we saw the Riff Tracks live telecast of Anaconda, the 1997 Jennifer Lopez Ice Cube slam dunk classic. I saw that in the theater when it came out originally and loved it. I've seen it on TV a few times, but seeing it with the guys making fun of it from Riff Tracks, I loved it. I almost think it was one of the better Riff Tracks. I think it was better than Godzilla when they did Godzilla.
They were about equal.
The movie Godzilla was worse.
Right. The movie Godzilla is way worse than this. This movie can hold up on its own. You could watch this and be entertained because Jon Voight's that entertaining.
It's just ridiculous.
I mean, he has a scowl on his face the entire movie, and he's like a half Tony Montana, half Christopher Walken, and that anytime I think about the movie, it's always quotes from him.
Yeah.
It's been a long time since I had a woman.
Oh, they don't.
That's the best. Me and Chris so exaggerated that scene in our minds because in the movie the actual line is Jennifer Lopez says, "Well, snakes don't bite people," and he goes, "Oh, they don't."
No, eat people.
Or don't eat people. He says, "Oh, they don't," and points to a nondescript scar that's you can't even see hardly.
A snake tried to eat him.
Right, and just on his face. But we remembered that line as we'd always quoted as kids, like, "Snakes don't eat people." Oh, they don't. Just so drawn out and over the top. But his character is just so compelling. He's scout. I mean, half the movie is him just
pissed off, scowling. Okay. But man, it was hilarious. I love those guys. I love what they do over at Riff Tracks. And I love to go see the live ones. You went and saw Night of the Living Dead and Godzilla and this one.
Right.
So you've seen a couple of them now.
Right.
They're pretty fun.
And Birdemic, but that was...
You watched Birdemic
right
here. Yeah, right. Birdemic is... Oh man, it's hilarious. It's so bad.
Honestly, the effects in Anaconda were better than I thought they were going to be.
But even the CG wasn't as bad as I
Right.
thought. Like, I believe Spawn came out that same year, and it had some of the worst CG ever.
Yeah, I was really surprised. I was expecting it to be a lot worse. And after
You know why? Because a ton of it is a real animatronic snake.
Practical effects always trump
It always-
CG.
when you
it
see
doesn't
that
matter
snake-
if they look shitty.
No, when you see that snake, you get excited. It's like, oh damn, it's a snake.
Yeah, in your mind, if something's real, it doesn't matter if it's moving kind of haphazardly. Like one of my best examples is in the original Terminator film when you see the future sequence, and you see one of the aircraft going above, and you can tell it's on strings and it's kind of jerking its movement, but you're like, that's someone created that.
Yeah.
That is in physical space.
Right.
Then you see, what was it, Salvation?
Yeah.
The beginning of that movie, everything's CG and there's lasers everywhere, and you don't care.
No.
You're just completely, I don't what.
It just doesn't have. Maybe we're being old fogies, but it just doesn't have the same appeal.
It doesn't impact you at all.
No.
Practical effect, and it's just everybody wants to take the easy way out. It feels like.
It definitely. The Hobbit.
And you're
I
just
think,
stifling.
suffers from that.
I mean, not only do we not have creativity on the script and screenplay side of what gets greenlit,
Right.
but we don't have creativity. Like, think about how creative they are in horror movies and action movies back in the day. You know, The Room and Nightmare.
Yeah.
And I mean stuff like. And then now they would just CG her up on the ceiling.
Well, they say everything just costs too much now.
Oh, give me a fucking break.
I know.
No, it's people aren't creative, and all those practical effects people have died off. It's like with anything. It's like people who are welders or machinists. Those people, there's no money in that career hardly anymore. No one's doing it anymore. All those people are dying out. They're not passing down the knowledge, and we're gonna just eventually lose these capabilities.
Well, I think there are shows like Walking Dead and stuff like that do a good job of mixing practical with CG, and I think you can pull it off. If you have a practical effect, and then there's something that's CG, you kind of buy the CG a little bit more.
Oh yeah.
You know, that's why Lord of the Rings worked. It had miniatures. It had real models. It had
and motion
practical.
capture of the CG.
Yeah, but now, in The Hobbit, you have mainly all CG, including some of the orcs who were live action in the Lord of the Rings, and they look great. So it bums me out, but it's just something you gotta get used to.
Especially in movies like, did you see the Ninja Turtles remake?
No, I didn't see it.
I mean, I'm not gonna bother, but aren't they all CG?
Yeah, the whole time.
How can you have your protagonist in like a non-Pixar or non-Disney
That's why
movie
I dislike that.
just be all CG? Oh, I hate that. I can't.
I didn't like it at all.
And people, I'm sure out there disagree with this, but 3D has not sold it for me at all. And
Hell no.
starring CG characters as your main role, if it's outside of a purely animated movie.
Maybe we've played too many games over the years.
Well, games tell better stories in a lot of ways than most films nowadays.
I agree.
The medium has shifted.
I get sucked into them more.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
Well, so that's Thursday. Tomorrow is Halloween, and I thought
Final day.
we would do a video on Thursday, and we'll put it up on Halloween, and it'll be easy to talk about the movie I'm going to watch tomorrow because I've seen it so many times, and you watched it recently.
I did.
Halloween. So.
God, the music's so good.
Oh yeah, it's this whole movie.
Everything
so good.
Carpenter touches music-wise is great. It's so catchy. It's that horror and synth.
Yeah, it's
perfect blend.
Moody, just gets it. So the new Halloween box set came out, and I didn't get it. I felt like I have 2 copies of the original on Blu-ray. I've got all the other ones up till Part 5 on Blu-ray, and the rest of them on DVD. The only new stuff in the box set was the director's cut of Part 6.
What's included in the box set?
The box set comes with
1 to 6 and H2O?
Oh no. Halloween 1,
Okay.
Halloween 1 the TV cut, Halloween 2, Halloween 2 the TV cut, Halloween 3, Halloween 4, Halloween 5, Halloween 6 theatrical cut, Halloween 6 producer's cut, the first time that's ever been released.
Okay.
H2O, Resurrection, isn't that what it's called? Halloween Resurrection, yeah.
We're going to talk about that in a second.
Resurrection, Rob Zombie's Halloween, and Rob Zombie's Halloween 2. And then a bonus disc. It's about $100.
Yeah, I saw it and I realized it was pretty pricey still. But you get a lot of content.
You get a lot there.
You could
but
just shave
it's a double dip.
You could shave the back end off. And
It's
I'd
a
be
total
fine.
double dip for me because I have most of that on Blu-ray. So I'm not gonna lie, I want it. I would love to put that on my shelf. I would love to just, especially, give a watch to some of those TV cuts. Halloween 2, I had that taped off TV for years, so the TV cut was the one I watched all the time. But I've got the Scream Factory releases of Halloween 2 and 3.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. If it came way down to like $40 or something, I might.
I think all I will do is just I have the first one
This version,
and then I'll pick up 2 and 3 and be done with it. I really like 3. I know Mike Myers isn't in it.
Love 3.
I think 3's great.
I love it. Me and Rachel watched it last year, and it's one of my favorites.
Yeah, well, one of our favorite things to do as friends is to bait our buddy Dustin, who was on the first one of these with you, and he would always, we could bait it, we can sink him in so easy with movie reviews, or we used to be able to really well. And for years he was off to college in Florida, and Halloween Resurrection had come out, and I mean Busta Rhymes, you know, trick or treat motherfucker, and all that shit. I mean, you could tell from the trailer it was a piece of shit, but we convinced Dustin. We called him and we said, listen,
It's so good.
I know that it looks bad, but Dan and I rented this movie and it is the best of the series. It is fantastic. And just totally hyped it up that it was the best in the series. And what a letdown.
Oh, it's so bad. It's the worst one.
I like H2O.
Yeah.
I saw it in theaters with my mom.
So, okay. So, tomorrow I'll be watching Halloween. It's not like a tradition for me or anything. I do kind of tend to watch it at least once a year.
Yeah.
Because I love it.
It doesn't even have to be at Halloween time.
No, not at all. But sometimes I go between 1, 2, and 3. Like, last year I watched part 3. And I'll be honest, I bought this and I haven't watched the movie yet. I watched the documentary on here about Jamie Lee Curtis, but I haven't watched the movie. So this is a new transfer that they did last year.
Well, I have watched it and it looks
really
great.
good.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So I'm gonna watch this tomorrow, and
especially some of the shots where, you know, he's in the shadows.
Yeah.
And you just see him kind of melt in.
well, they turned
to
they
frame.
did a dimmer on.
Yeah, and it really works.
Oh, love it.
It's so subtle and clear.
Yeah, there's not a whole lot to say because I'm sure everybody's seen Halloween and they really enjoy it.
If you haven't, please go see it.
Oh,
it's
such a good movie. Captures that time period perfectly.
I mean, it's what, 35, 36 years old? 35?
35th anniversary
Yeah,
edition.
35 years old now.
Last
and
year.
It definitely holds up. I mean, it's not maybe as gory and violent as you think, but the music's so good, the atmosphere's so good.
Dr.
You like
Loomis.
the characters. Oh, you can't beat
So
Donald
good.
Pleasant.
He's so good in it.
It's
Yeah.
still one of the creepiest scenes is when they pull up at the beginning to the mental hospital and they're
Yeah.
just roaming around outside.
I know. I love it. I
and
can't
scurrying
wait.
over the car. Ding, 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 ding.
I'm getting excited to watch it again. What do you think of this artwork?
It looks pretty good. His face looks a little big.
Yeah, it's weird. I don't know that I love it. I don't hate it.
Yeah.
But I remember these started kind of disappearing last year, and you started seeing like the regular blue cased versions. Is yours the book or the blue?
It's that one.
When did you buy it? This year?
Yeah, like a couple weeks ago.
So I remember they started disappearing, and you would see the Blu-ray versions just with like the blue case, and I was like, dang! I didn't buy it. I was like, I'm not gonna buy it. I don't want to buy it. Then I saw those disappearing, and I snatched it up at Best Buy for like $15. And everybody was like, once they're done, they're just gonna start putting out the blue ones. And then this year, there's tons of these out there. Just
It was
tons
still,
of
if it
them.
makes you feel better, it was still $15.
Oh well, good.
Yeah.
Well, I feel better. I'm glad Rachel's here to not make fun of me for it. But such a great movie. It'll be a great film to end this sort of marathon on. It's been a fun month. I'll be honest. I think that watching the films really helped me enjoy this month. I feel like it made the month maybe even go a little longer.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes I feel like October goes too fast.
It's such a good month around here too,
It
just
is.
weather-wise,
It's
and
been
you're kind of
great.
getting ready.
Yeah, so I felt more festive this year. We're gonna go take my daughter trick or treating tomorrow, and I think it's gonna be really fun. I've enjoyed watching the movies. It's been fun having you guys, like a different person with me each time, to talk about them. And I think coming up through November, I'm gonna just keep trying to do try to do a video each week. I can't guarantee it, but I'm gonna try to do one. Some of the series. I know I might want to do a series of Mystery Science Theater videos through November because they're releasing the newest box set, and Mystery Science Theater has always been kind of a Thanksgiving show.
Mhm.
They would do a marathon on Comedy Central.
Right.
So it might be fun to do some of those things and then, where that goes. But I did want to mention that Riff Tracks is also going to be doing Santa Claus in December, which is
The 4th, I think. They said.
December 4th. So if you guys have that in your area, definitely go check it out. It's so much fun. I love going. I get excited every time. And they're just fun guys, fun event. We not only enjoy going to the event for them,
Ooh. You
but
can
the
tell
people
standing in the
watching.
lobby. You can stand in the lobby and know these 5 motherfuckers, they're going to the Riff Tracks. And you don't even have to be within smelling distance of them. You can just look.
There was a guy there tonight with the top hat on.
Yeah, full Victorian English mutton chops and like beard top hat.
Yeah. I'm not gonna not include myself in that group,
Right.
because there is rarely a harder core fan of Mystery Science Theater than me.
Yeah, but you can bathe and dress appropriately and not laugh at all the little text bullshit on the screen beforehand, every corny pun and goofball joke. People are taking pictures with their phones. Oh, this is so fun. I gotta share it with my 0 followers on Twitter.
But yeah, it's fun. You guys get an opportunity to go check those out. And, I hope everybody enjoyed the series through the month of October. And
Look for Are You Afraid of the Dark?
yeah, look for that. We'll be doing that real soon. And we'll be just doing some different videos with all the different members of the group. And if you guys have any recommendations or have, any movies you think I missed out through this marathon, maybe next year I can watch that maybe have a real thick Halloween theme, let me know. And I appreciate you guys tuning in.
Trick or treat, mother.